After 78 years of neutrality, Finland joins NATO.
Yes, I feel safe and NATO gives us backup.
Finland has completely closed its borders with Russia.
Poses a serious threat to national security of Finland.
Russia is trying to scare Finnish society.
Where we see more and more of manipulation of the information space, disinformation.
Finns have long been building social resistance to threats because they know their Russian neighbor.
We know that we have a neighbor that is not that friendly.
How Finland can strengthen Europe's borderlands. The Finns say that they are ready as a society. Yes, they have a fairly strong army, but first of all, they know that peace and security are not forever. The Finns say that they have a concern for security written into their genes. They also say that their national memory was created by the bloody Winter War.
Before World War II, independent Finland was a problem for Moscow. The communists ruling in the Kremlin could not forgive the Finns for winning independence after the collapse of the Russian Empire in 1917 and crushing the communist revolution in Finland. On November 30th, 1939, Stalin ordered an attack on Finland. In Stalin's rhetoric, this was the liberation of Finland. This war went down in history as the Winter War. The Finns put up fierce resistance, despite the enormous disproportion between the two sides. At the beginning of the war, the Finnish army numbered 30,000 men, while the Soviets threw a million-strong army into the fight. The Finns mobilized society and fought bravely in difficult winter conditions. Fighting took place along the entire border of Finland, but the fiercest was in Karelia. During the 4 months of the war until March 1940, the Finns defended their independence, although they had to make a compromise peace and give part of Karelia to the USSR. During World War II, Finland stood by the Third Reich in the so-called Continuation War against the USSR. It lasted until 1944. Ultimately, they lost this war too, but defended their independence. After World War II, Finland remained independent and democratic, but had to be neutral during the Cold War and could not join Western structures. The Finnish Winter War inspires Ukrainians today. For them, the Finns' persistence during the Winter War is a model. We also meet with local residents for whom this history remains vividly alive, connecting past and present through personal stories and shared memories.
So the fortifications would have started there from the stones, and then there would have been barbed wires, tank preventing, and mines. This used to be a highway to Mikkeli at the wartime, and these field fortifications are securing the Finland. Well, the Salpa line has been built in 1940s and 41, and this particular bunker has been made at the 41 after Winter War. The construction company which made this bunker was originally from Viborg, and they wanted to honor the lost Karelia by putting this Karelian herald here.
How important is the memory of this time, this war, Winter War, and war with Soviet Union for the people locally in Karelia?
Maybe it's for the Karelians the hardest place, because they were torn from their roots and they were transferred here.
Yeah. So if you look now on the Ukraine, where the part of territory of Ukraine is occupied by Russia, do you think it's something like the same?
Yes, but I never believed that it would happen. The war is just a bloody hell.
And how many Russians and Soviet troops could attack this place?
It was estimated that if the front line would have broken, they could have been concentrating here about 75,000 men in the Lappeenranta area. But good for us and good for our dead soldiers, they never got this far.
If you're thinking about now about the young generation of Finnish people, do you think that there is enough of patriotic determination to protect country in any case?
So in Finland we have this common military service. So every young men go to army. So we have strong army, and that's why NATO was very welcoming us, because we have so big army. Of course, nowadays also there are about 75% of Finnish young men ready to go to fight against any enemy.
Yeah, and do you feel safe?
Yes, I feel safe, and NATO gives us backup, so it's very good for us. We are here so close to Russian borders, so to us it's very important. Yes, politics is countries has bad experiences, so they are very willing to support Ukraine.
Solidarity towards those fleeing the war is very important at the level of the European Union. We also need coordination among us in order to prevent human trafficking of vulnerable persons. The relocation of those who need protection is an essential part of the EU's temporary protection. Finland is ready to assume its responsibility in this common effort.
Now we'll go not far from the former defense line to the modern border of Finland with Russia. Today it is completely closed border. We'll see why.
The situation is rather calm, and it has been that kind of since the January. There has been about 20 incidents after the January, and most of them, or every one of those situations, has not related to the phenomenon of illegal immigration. Those cases are what we call normal.
Okay, and the border is closed.
Government made this decision 15th of December last year.
Okay, and why the border is closed?
Because of the illegal immigration that has deployed from the east, and it poses a serious threat of national security of Finland.
In recent years, Finland faced illegal border crossings by migrants using bicycles, exploiting a loophole requiring vehicle crossings at designated points. Russia played a key role with reports of bicycles being deliberately sold to migrants near the Russian-Finnish border.
Oczywiście rozmawialiśmy z panem prezydentem również i o problemie, który od pewnego czasu dotyka oba nasze kraje. My mamy ten problem bezpośrednio w kontekście Białorusi. Finlandia niestety została dotknięta przez ten problem w kontekście granicy z Rosją, a mianowicie chodzi o nielegalną migrację.
How hard is for border guards, for military to protect this border because of special conditions of this terrain?
Well, we have done it in 100 years, so we know how to do it, and we have very good equipment. We have technical surveillance. We have dogs, and we are very well prepared, and we know how to handle this situation. And like you said, the terrain is hard and even dangerous, so we know where it's possible to human to come. Well, in this situation, also they need help. So it's a hard work, but
The underground parking lot under the Kamppi shopping center in the center of Helsinki is designed as a shelter for over 3,000 people. Helsinki has perfectly designed infrastructure in case of war. This parking lot shelter was built over 20 years ago, when no one expected that Russia would attack its neighbors.
Russian war against Ukraine changed public opinions in Finland. War again seems to be a possibility in today's Europe. Finland, which has a large territory but a small population, has a very exposed position, a geopolitical position next to a big state. So I think it was the kind of Finnish way of thinking that it is better protected as a part of a defense alliance.
Do you think that Finland's society is prepared for this situation? I mean, ready?
I think Finland, that has this exposed geopolitical location, has a high level of preparedness towards more traditional threats as well as towards more unconventional hybrid threats. We have something that we call the comprehensive security model, which is based on the assumption that the whole of society needs to be prepared and also needs to kind of take resilience measures. So it's not only the task of defense forces or the government. We need to kind of engage the whole of society. Of course, there are challenging parts in this. The new technology that provides more tools to actors such as Russia, the modern information space, where we see more and more of manipulation of the information space, disinformation.
How this situation influence on the situation in the Finland, of the society feelings?
Finland has a lot of vulnerabilities due to its geopolitical location. It has critical infrastructures that are vulnerable. It is connected with kind of in terms of its energy supplies, in terms of its data cables that are kind of undersea installations. So location creates vulnerabilities, but I think like any other democratic state today, also kind of the vulnerabilities related to critical infrastructure as such, be it financial systems, be it energy supplies, be it any other type of critical infrastructure. I think Finland is kind of similar to many other countries. So there are vulnerabilities that we need to identify, we need to address and make sure that we are resilient and prepared.
Who are you? I'm Squad Leader Kauppila of the Finnish Army.
What's this?
It's the howitzer.
And why is it good?
Yeah, it's accurate and has a range of 14 kilometers.
Now the Speaker of the Parliament, Jussi Halla-aho, is utterly pro-Ukrainian and speaks fluent Ukrainian and in that sense very kind of anti-Putin politician. So this creates that in these key security policy issues or key Russia policy issues, Finland is very kind of consensual. The atmosphere for any kind of major pro-Kremlin narratives is really weak in Finland. Well, I think when it comes to this sort of a traditional military threat, well, I could say that Finland is perhaps one of the best prepared countries in Europe. There's a long history already before the NATO, because the very idea was that, or has been, that we need to have a proper own army or military capacity in the case of the Russian military threats, or to show a kind of deterrence in that regard. So there is this kind of strong preparedness in this regard. I think this sort of an issue of hybrid threats is more complicated and more problematic, because it's very difficult to see them beforehand. And as we have seen, we have these suspicious cases as in elsewhere in Europe. It's very difficult to receive any stone certainty or the stone hard certainty about that who's behind of these. So and actually this is the part of this sort of a hybrid threat game in creating the sense of uncertainty. And it's more like this kind of psychological thing, which I think we should have maybe more. We need to be more prepared and to more used to that this is the kind of unfortunately new normality. But when it comes to these traditional military threats, I think that we are very well prepared, and in that sense we are in the best position in the long history because now we are also part of the NATO.
Why you are prepared for traditional military?
Well,
Because of self-defense, territorial self-defense?
Well, I think that actually it was a kind of paradoxical thing because it was a time when we lost a war but we saved our independence. It was kind of this sort of a partial thing. And then there was, of course, intention from the Soviet Union that we should be part of their sphere of influence, but we managed to kind of navigate in a position of kind of neutrality. We didn't have the independent foreign policy because we were not allowed to integrate with any major Western institutions like the European Union, to say nothing about the NATO. So the only solution was that, and of course then the Soviets were expecting that as you have so small army, and actually it was largely regulated, we could build a cooperation, and there was this Warsaw Pact. And we actually avoided that in the idea that we have a very strong own army in order to defend the Western enemies who are probably using the Finnish territory in their attack against the Soviet Union. This was the official, the Soviet called Soviet era liturgy in Finnish-Soviet relations. Everybody knew in reality that's why we have an army. It was also preparing the idea. So it was to showing the Soviets that we have this major conventional army. So that was actually the background of it. We kept that also after the Soviet Union collapsed, and it was a very wise decision when we see that where we are now.
Today, December 6th, Finland celebrates Independence Day. In Finland, the military parade on Independence Day is held in a different city every year. This year in Lappeenranta, the capital of Karelia. We are going to Lappeenranta. We will meet brave Finnish women there.
Women's National Emergency Preparedness Association organizes security, safety and preparedness training for women, for civilian women. So our training is not military training, so we don't have any shooting or things like that, but we have a range of other themes that we train. Our members are other organizations, and through those organizations we reach about 100,000 women.
100,000?
Yes.
It's a lot.
It is a lot to a country. Our population is 5.6 million, so it's roughly 1.8, maybe 2%.
How important it is for Finnish women?
I'd say it's very important. According to the Finnish comprehensive security model, our way of thinking is that every actor in our society is important in our security and building our resilience and preparedness. So everyone from the government to businesses to non-governmental organizations such as ourselves, and every single individual, every single citizen is important part of our security. So I'd say it's very important. And our training is mostly how to survive or how to react and act in everyday situations. Well, we have 40 different courses in our training program, and the range is wide. So it varies from, like I said, for like first aid, practical first aid skills, to how to survive without electricity. It can be cybersecurity related or very, very topical information influencing, like how to protect and how to detect that we are being influenced and manipulated, and you need to be aware of that so you can protect yourself from it.
And do you cooperate with military, with other governmental services, with police, with, I don't know, border guard?
With Finnish Defence Forces, they support us when we organize our training. We mostly organize our training in the form of 1 weekend long exercises. Finnish women have always wanted to participate. If we look at our previous wars, Lotta Svärd organization had members, 240,000 members. And women participated not so much in the war, in the front line, but in supporting roles. Lottas were very active, and that same spirit is still alive in Finnish women, and we want to be active. We want to participate, we want to do, we want to be useful, so we want to learn skills. And we do recognize it that women, after Russia invaded Ukraine, we got a lot of phone calls, naturally, that women wanted to participate even more.
What do you think when you heard from media, from TV, these ideas? This is not our war, I mean, war in Ukraine.
We don't, of course, we never wanted any wars. Even the previous wars, we didn't want them. And at the moment, there is no direct threat towards Finland in a traditional sense. But we have to be prepared for everything. And we are prepared for anything and everything. We all know there is this hybrid warfare thing going on. It has been going on for a while, and it is still going on. And so, but like traditional, that there would be tanks rolling from our over our eastern border. We're not expecting that to happen anytime soon, but that doesn't mean that we need to be prepared. All I can say is, in regards to the willingness to defend our country and activity in voluntary national defense, I think it's in our DNA. It's in our collective memory. It's not so long ago. We all have granddads or dads or someone who was at the war, or grandma was a Lotta. We have these individual memories which have been.
You mean
like,
Winter War?
Yeah, Winter War, Continuation War. Yeah. Those aren't that long ago. My own dad was a war orphan. My granddad died in that war. So we all have these stories in our families because we are a small nation. And so it's our individual memories and it's our collective memories, because we've kept the memory of our veterans and our Lottas and everyone who sort of gave us our freedom, and we appreciate it a lot. And we know that we have a neighbor that is not that friendly, and we've been there, we've experienced it. So I can't give you one answer. I think there's a lot of answers to that, like why. That's just the way we are. We want to take part, we want to act.
From our love shall rise so bright our nation's future, hope and might, and higher yet shall ring more strong our patriotic song.
We are ending our journey along the Europe's borderland in Finland. From Poland through Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia to Finland. You have seen how the threat from Russia is felt, but also how security is being built. Here in Finland, we've heard we are a new NATO member, but we are as if we had always been in NATO. The Finns say we can give a lot to Europe and NATO, a strong society committed to defense and experience in surviving in the shadow of dangerous neighbor from the east.